In the winter of 1996, a polar vortex swallowed the small town of Blackwood. Temperatures plunged to -55 degrees. The power grid didn't fail slowly, it shattered. Within hours, modern homes with smart thermostats and central heating became ice chests. Families burned chairs, doors, anything that would catch flame just to keep their children alive. But out in a lonely field beyond town, something impossible was happening. From beneath 10 feet of frozen earth, a thin yellow pipe poked through the snow, breathing out warm, cedar-scented smoke. Underground, Elias Thorne and his 2 daughters sat in a cozy room wearing t-shirts, sipping hot cocoa, listening to the wind scream above them. They weren't in a government bunker. They weren't in a mansion. They were inside a 1970s school bus, one Elias had buried years earlier while the town called him insane. Neighbors signed petitions to have him committed. They nicknamed his project the Yellow Grave. Now that grave was the only warm place for 50 miles. This is the story of the man who saw the freeze coming and the ridiculous object that saved an entire town. Elias Thorne wasn't a doomsday dreamer or a man chasing visions of the future. He was a welder, quiet, precise, someone who trusted steel more than rumors. After his wife died suddenly, his world narrowed to one mission: keep Sarah and Mia safe, no matter what the future held. In 1993, he bought a 40-foot school bus for $500 and had it dumped in his yard. The reaction was immediate. "It's trash, Elias," Mr. Henderson from the Homeowners Association yelled across the fence. "This isn't a junkyard." Elias just nodded, picked up a shovel, and started digging. For months, he worked alone after dark. What began as a hole became a canyon, 20 feet deep, 50 feet long. He layered gravel, drainage pipes, thick plastic membranes. To the neighbors, it looked like madness. Kids rode by on bikes, chanting, "Bus driver to nowhere." But Elias was thinking in engineering terms the town had never heard of: thermal mass, load distribution, passive heat storage. A school bus, with its steel ribs and curved shell, was already a reinforced capsule. Protect it from rust, shield it from pressure, and it could outlive the houses around it. The fines piled up. The ridicule grew louder. Elias kept digging. What the town never saw was the brilliance taking shape. Elias stripped the bus to its skeleton and coated every inch in marine rubber sealant, the same material used on ship hulls. Around it, he built a cage of wire mesh filled with tons of river stone, a technique called gabion construction. Those stones were the heart of the design. In summer, they would absorb the coolness of the deep earth. In winter, they would release heat like a slow-burning battery. Inside, the bus became a tiny fortress. The driver's seat replaced with a hand-built air filtration system, a galley kitchen with a manual water pump, a cast-iron stove no bigger than a suitcase, cedar-lined bunks that smelled like a forest after rain. He used school buses because they have strong roofs by code. Think of the children. He poured 2 feet of concrete over it and topped that with 14 feet of dirt. The engineering consultant who constructed Toronto's subway system is the same one who oversaw ARC-2's completion. When the last layer of soil covered the roof, only a camouflaged hatch and 2 thin vents remained. To Blackwood, the eyesore had finally vanished. People said Elias had gone underground, literally. They believed they had won. The freeze arrived without thunder, just a heavy, suffocating silence. Thermometers bottomed out at -40, then -50. Pipes burst like gunshots. Ice crept across living room walls. The power station failed, and darkness swallowed the streets. Mr. Henderson sat in his luxury home wrapped in coats, staring at his beautiful floor-to-ceiling windows, now frozen sheets of glass stealing every degree of warmth. His children cried beneath piles of blankets. 12 feet below the frost line, the Thorne girls were arguing over a board game. Inside the buried yellow bus, it was 72 degrees. Elias fed the stove only a few logs a day. The stones surrounding the bus did the rest, exhaling the warmth they had stored for years. The earth itself had become a guardian. Above ground, Blackwood was dying. Below ground, a forgotten yellow bus had become a lifeboat. On the 5th day, Elias heard tapping on a vent pipe. Weak, desperate, he dug upward through fresh drifts and opened the hatch. He climbed the ladder to the hatch and pushed through 3 feet of fresh powder. Standing there was a group of neighbors, including Mr. Henderson stood there with others from town, faces gray with cold. "Elias, please, the children can't get warm." No speeches, no revenge. Elias simply stepped aside. For 3 days, 20 neighbors lived in the aisles of that bus, people who once mocked him, now sharing soup from his tiny stove, sleeping beneath cedar planks he'd planed by hand. The yellow grave became Blackwood's last shelter. When the thaw finally came, the town looked different. Not the buildings, the people. They no longer saw an eccentric with a shovel. They saw a father who had prepared when others laughed. Elias Thorne never called himself a hero. He just said, "Steel doesn't care about opinions. Winter doesn't either." Elias Thorne's story is a powerful reminder that sometimes the crazy ideas are the ones that save us when the world turns cold. If you believe that preparation is better than regret, hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that stories of resilience like this need to be seen. I want to hear from you. If you had to bury one object in your backyard to save your family, what would it be? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see more stories of secret homes and high-stakes survival, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. We're just getting started. Stay safe, stay prepared, and we'll see you in the next story.